Cuba's 10th legislature of the National Assembly of People's Power starts the new legislative year in the Caribbean nation. Ecuador's General Prosecutor's Office announced the arrest of President Guillermo Lazo's brother-in-law, Danilo Carrera, at Guayaquil's International Airport. In Sudan, clashes continue for the fifth consecutive day between the army and the paramilitary group Rapid Support Forces. From the headquarters of teleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada, and now I invite you to go live to Cuba as the 10th legislature of the National Assembly of People's Power deliberates in the election of a new head of state and a new vice president. Let's listen.
The amount of vote was 443 for the 96%. For vice president,
para presidente 443 votos, para el 96,21%. 96,1%.
for vice president, 457 for the 99.13%. And for secretary, 456 to 48.42%. According to this result from the voting, and for getting more than 50% of the valid votes, in compliance with the Article 219 of the Electoral Law, these deputies are declared elected. Juan Esteban Lazo Hernandez as president, Ana María Mari Machado as vice president, Homero Acosta Álvarez as secretary, and I invite all deputies to take their post.
And the president of Cuba's National Electoral Council announced the results of the lawmakers choosing an election of their top positions, the top leaders. There, they ratified Esteban Lazo Hernandez as the president of the electoral body and the legislative body with 96% of the votes. And now let's listen to her words.
That performed well from this assembly and representing the Cuban people, they have decided so.
diputadas y diputados.
Deputies.
A continuación,
Now
informaremos sobre los
we're
resultados de la
going to
votación
report
para
on
los demás
voting
miembros
for
del
the
Consejo
rest
de
of the
Estado.
members of the
De los
Council of State.
462 diputadas
Of the
y diputados
467 deputies
ejercieron
present
el
today,
derecho al voto 462
462
para el 100%.
exercised the right of voting for the
Resultaron boletas
100%.
válidas 461
461
para el
valid votes,
99,78%. Boletas anuladas, una,
and
lo
all
que
votes with
representa
this
el
one.
0,22%. No existieron boletas en
There were
blanco.
no
Cantidad de
blank
votos por
votes.
todos, 454 para el 98,48%. Cantidad de votos obtenidos por
The
cada
amount
uno
of
de
vote
los
for
propuestos.
each of the deputies
Ailín
proposed.
Álvarez
Ailín Álvarez García,
459 para el
459.
99,57%. Teresa María
Amarilla Buek, for
459
votes for 99.57%.
Angélica María Choren Fernández,
460 for the 99.78%. Omara Durán Elías, 461 for the 100%. Marisela Figueredo Rosales, 460 for 99.78%. Ulises Gilarte de Nacimiento, 456 for the 98.92%. Gerardo Hernández Nodelo, 461 for the 100% of votes. Beatriz Johnson Urrutia, 459 for the 99.7%. Yurisa Laera, 459 for the 99.57%. Taimí Martínez Naranjo, 459 for the 99.57%. Julio Emilio Morejón Pérez, 460 votes for the 99.78%. Miriam Nicado García, 460 votes for the 99.78%. Elier Ramírez, 461 for the 100%. Joerky Sánchez Cuellar, 461 for the 100%. Rafael Ramón Santiesteban, 458 for the 99.35%. Iván Santos Prieto, 460 for the 99.78%. Yuri Valdés Baldín, 460 for the 99.78%. Juana Yamica Viñales Suárez, 460 votes for the 99.78%. challenges that we're forced to provide new ideas and to transform as many things as possible to provide us to achieve 64% of the US National Assembly, that is made up of 470 deputies. It opens us new perspective for us. We arrived here after our deputies that have meetings with students and the people and workers in each province and city that they came from.
por diferentes vías la participación del pueblo en los debates y en las propuestas de asuntos a analizar y también las ideas e iniciativas de cada uno de nosotros los diputados. La primera tarea.
The first task that we have ahead is to improve the economy, our economy, and the well-being of the people. That's where our focus must be. All of our efforts, and we will also be facing a very difficult economic situation as a result of the blockade imposed by the United States against Cuba, the consequences of the pandemic, the conflict in Europe, and the worldwide crisis that affects all the population. Without forgetting our own deficiencies that have caused a deficit in our, and the fall of the economic activity that affects the life of our people. We must have a rigorous control to comply with the strategic and addressing that what else we can do and must be done to demand to whom it's. We must be ready to discuss complex themes of our people, to find possible solutions under the leadership about things that we have to be independent for ourselves and with our own efforts. Inflation will be another thing that we have to discuss and analyze, demanding control above the laws that we approve and analyzing their impacts in our people. We must increase agriculture. We need to apply measures against inflation and to mitigate the high prices that affect our population. We must continue to find solutions to strengthen the state institutions and to link private sector. Analyzing all these problems, we can find reference in past experience and similar circumstances, always with a critical view and with the support of the science and innovation. We must work all based on our priorities and to transform the country, and incorporating the experience and wisdom of our people. Our purpose must be as well to strengthen the relations between the deputies and the people, to work better, to fix the problems of the population, to strengthen the relation of our National Assembly with the municipal assemblies. We must strengthen the deputies' work of each community and to increase the participation in the greatest things for our people. Our parliament is forced to a true work. The legislative activities, this includes a more active role of the Council State, as the National Assembly is not working. We must remember that the National Assembly of People's Power, as constitutional mandate, is the supreme institution, is a representative institution that corresponds, in some cases, with an exclusive character, to control. It's the highest institution to control all the states' institutions, the provincial governments, and to approve the state budget and to control its compliance. We also approve the general objectives and measures of the government. Our most important mission will be demand to all those responsible to execute these political policies and to implement what we agree in every phase of this assembly, especially in the economic area. In the case of laws and bills, we must demand its compliance, specifically to those institutions responsible with its implementation and control. Fidel left us how to be a better parliament, that in our National Assembly we need to discuss who is responsible, that every criteria must be heard, and the composition and diversity of the parliament. The best decisions will be adopted to represent better the population. The deputy of this assembly, with a 55% of women, 19% of young people, and with all sectors of society, it is a strength that we have today and to comply with our commitment. This requires a better preparation of our deputies, for which we are going to address that would include economic, judicial, political, social, international policy, and how the National Assemblies work. Next month, we will have several days of seminars to evaluate the experiences of the past legislature and to listen to the criteria sent by the population. A group of measures that will have the participation of the National Assembly and the people. This means that our preparation is very important. Past experience for the past legislations can serve us to enrich our work. Deputies, you have received some legal dispositions and the Constitution of the Republic that you must study as part of your preparation, and to be prepared to debate these laws that you receive. That it's stated your rights and your duties as deputies. If each of us, from our positions as deputies, as head of institutions, as workers, as farmers, as intellectuals,
en fin, como revolucionarios,
as
cumplimos con
revolutionaries,
nuestro
if we
deber
comply with
y
our duty
marchamos junto al pueblo de que
and we
somos
stand
parte. En
alongside the
cada
people,
tarea podemos hacer realidad la
then we
frase que
can
nos ha
make
guiado
reality
en todo este proceso electoral de mejor es posible.
that better is
Solo
possible.
así, mejor
Only
será
there.
posible. No serán momentos fáciles para
There
esta
will be
nueva
no easy
legislatura.
times for
No,
this new legislature.
no lo será.
There won't
Como
be,
tampoco lo ha sido en otro momento de la historia
as
de
it
la
hasn't
revolución.
been in other
Pero
moments
por
of
muy
the
duros que
revolution.
sean,
But as
mayor
hard
han
as
de
may
ser
be,
nuestra voluntad y
greater will
compromiso
be our
con
will
nuestro
and our
pueblo,
commitment with our
a quien
people,
estamos obligados a honrar
that we are
y representar
committed to honor
con la
and to
guía
represent,
del pensamiento de nuestro héroe nacional
with the
José
guide
Martí
and
y de nuestros
thoughts of
líderes
our
Fidel y
national
Raúl
hero,
y la
José Martí,
convicción del
and
Partido
Fidel and
Comunista.
Raúl.
Una vez más saldremos
Once again,
victoriosos.
we will be victorious.
Una vez más, repetir
Once
que
again,
cumpliremos con
we
honor
will comply
y
with
lealtad
honor and
el
loyalty
juramento que hemos asumido hoy
the oath that
ante
we
nuestro
took
pueblo
today.
aguerrido, noble y revolucionario. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Queridos compañeras diputados,
Deputies,
diputados invitados, pasaremos ahora
we will now
al segundo punto del orden
this-
del día y para ello solicito a la
and now
presidenta
request
de la
the
Comisión
president of
de Candidatura
the Commission
Nacional
of the
que
Candidacy
presente la
to
candidatura
present the
para
candidacy
ocupar los cargos
to
de
occupy the
presidente y vicepresidente
post as
de
President
la
and Vice President of the Republic.
General de Ejército Raúl Castro Ruz,
General Raúl Castro Ruz, leader of the Cuban Revolution. Miguel Mario Díaz-Canel Bermúdez, First Secretary of the People's Power. Juan Esteban Lazo Hernández, President of the National Assembly. Alina Balseiro, President of the National Electoral Council. Deputies. First, we would like to say, and the rest of the elected deputies, our congratulations and our wishes in your and the success in your task. We are now going to present the candidacy to elect President and Vice President of the Republic. For we will receive the proposal sent by the deputies. The candidates selected, they comply with the requisites established by the Constitution to be President and Vice President of the Republic. They have already more than 35 years so to be a Cuban citizens and do not have any other citizenship. And in the case of the President of the Republic, they must be until 60 years of age. Deputies, to take on this high responsibility as President of the Republic of Cuba, we propose to ratify Miguel Mario Díaz-Canel Bermúdez.
Miguel Mario
Díaz-Canel Bermúdez have led the country with bravery in very difficult circumstances over the past few years. We have committed to see the intellectual under the philosophy that just one person cannot know more than everyone. He keeps an unshakable faith in the victory, and there is no impossibles. There is in the worst circumstances, he always optimistic, looking for ways to face the obstacles and to keep the revolution alive. Under the blockade imposed by the United States, Diaz-Canel promoted the concept to resist creatively that foresees the development by our own means without waiting for the lifting of the blockade. His daily work and his work with the people allows him to strengthen his leadership, gaining the trust of the Cuban people. His commitment and leadership with the generation that made the revolution, the loyalty to our historical leaders, Commander Fidel Castro Ruz and General Raúl Castro Ruz, constitute his guide in his daily work. To occupy this vice president, we proposed to ratify Salvador Antonio Valdez Mesa his work in this high responsibility in the past few years that have been very difficult for the country. She can work like agriculture, the strengthening of the governing bodies, his constant work with the people, the farmers and workers, in multiple meetings around the country. It's our part of his work. He's a modest person. His capacity to be a good listener and his great experience in the union war. He has the recognition of the people, its admiration, and of the actual leaders of the country. Over the past 4 years, he has represented Cuba successfully in several forums in the international arena. In the biography that you receive is the trajectory of these proposals. President of the National Assembly of the People's Power, my work here is done. Thank you very much. I request members of the National Electoral Council to proceed to deliver the biography of the proposal. The deputies will have 10 minutes to study these biographies.
Bueno, estamos al tanto de este momento con el punto final. Todo el proceso de
From this moment on, the deputies will have 10 minutes to analyze, to read, and also to study these biographies of the two main candidates to be ratified as president and vice president of Cuba. In this case, the lawmakers proposed Miguel Mario Diaz-Canel Bermúdez to be ratified as the president of Cuba and Salvador Valdez Mesa to be ratified as the vice president of the island. We know, as so far, the morning schedule and the morning agenda of this 10th legislature. Not also they elected or re-elected the top officials of the electoral body, the legislative body. In this case is Juan Esteban Lazo Hernández, Ana Mari Machado, and Homero Acosta as the president, the vice president, and the secretary of the National Assembly of People's Power of Cuba. Also, they ratified their commitment and stressed their oath of office as they took office, all the lawmakers. In any case, the re-elected president of the National Assembly of People's Power, Esteban Lazo Hernández, he also offered an overview, a summary, an assessment of the past 5 years, the term of the prior legislature, the 9th legislature of People's Power in Cuba. In that case, he stressed the need to be financially stable, the need for the country to be self-reliant in economy, in the economic aspect, and also how to face the challenges of the current days. That's to say, the geopolitics, the shifts in the power balance in the world, also the pressure from external forces and external hostile countries like the US and other Western powers. And in any case, how this legislature is taking the baton from the prior, but with a variety of lawmakers, with a variety of representation, more diversity, and a better prospect in the work. He also was a self-critic regarding the work of the assembly, saying that the lawmakers have to be on the pace of the changes in the economy and to be up to the task of transform Cuba's economy and to improve this aspect for the well-being of the Cuban people. Also, he recognized the role of the new actors in the Cuban economy. That's to say, the private sector, and that's a novelty, that's a newness in not only in Cuba's economy, but also in how they play a role, a key role in in the new prospect of Cuba's economy. Let's remember that Cuba has among the basis and the fundamentals in the Constitution that Cuba is constructing socialism, but Cuba has also acknowledged that the socialism has to be a new type of policy. It cannot be just stranded in the past policies. And now let's listen to Esteban Lazo Hernández, who is addressing the Assembly.
Is there any deputies that would like to say something about the proposals? If someone would like to exclude or change any of the proposals? If someone would like to address the assembly?
Por acá, nombre, apellido. Tiene la palabra.
You have the floor. Orlando Gutierrez Vos from the Municipality Plaza de la Revolución. First, I would like to congratulate the elected deputies that would allow us to move forward and to transform and the way out that demands the people. The information that you provide us, we all know that the moment that we're living in, and the meetings that we all deputies had with the people ahead of this election, we learned from our people, and even that all these deputies that we are here today, we were discussing, and we learned from one of our deputies that we knew and we met as companions, and we end the journey as brothers. However, I do consider learning from our history that there are some things that we have to reaffirm, not to discuss all these problems. We already know about it. It's up to us, the Cubans. It's up to us to resolve the problems that we have today. It is a difficult situation. Our history is full of difficult times. And I call to the faith that we defend, that our president is constant calling us to make it a reality, to move ahead of problems and the solutions in our self-reliance and all the problems that we have today, to move forward and find solutions. And we have a very good thing. We were even accused as, and we made this revolution with our own minds. We have to see how to apply the resistance that was brought to us from our history. Our people fighting one side another until our commander Fidel Castro, and this faith is gathered in our history. We don't have to look in any other place. We are in a condition after these elections to those that question our commitment, the way and the response of our people were the 3 elections that already took place, in difficult situations. And it was a brave gesture of a revolution, and we reaffirmed that is the way, the faith and the political bravery to resolve the problems. Therefore, Cuban won. Today is a very important date for us, that we already have victory in Girón. Also say that when Cyclone Flora, what our commander taught us, that we can use it in any other area, and is that it's more important is that we have a revolutionary people in one way or another. It is a revolutionary people. We want to end this statement with a phrase. First, we don't care about anyone has to say. In our April 23rd, now we can remember. We pray that Cuba, we are all part of this workshop, and we are not afraid of anything. But we have to face from now on all the ways that finding solutions. All these are challenges that we have to lift the hope ahead of the challenges. Long live hope. And I give the floor Good afternoon. Yenisei González Rodriguez, Deputy from Grama, Municipality of Niquero. First, I would like to speak on behalf of my... I consider that these proposals were elaborated respecting the Constitution of the Republic and also from the electoral law. These three legislative laws that we approved in the past legislature. The candidates, without a doubt, since they took office and up to date, they proved their conditions that makes them worthy of the trust of the people. We cannot forget that they have fulfilled their commitment in a complex situation with several challenges, but they taught us the true commitment. They show us the way of science and innovation. The need to go back over history. They show us coherence and dignity in exercising their work. They taught us how to be creative, and they effectively led the country. Where we can mention the family code. On April 19, 2018, Miguel Mario Díaz-Canel Bermúdez, they took on responsibility to lead the island. You have to dare to continue with the work of immense men, to possess an optimism against all odds. 5 years ago, we already know what this means. When you defend life, as we are doing it today, there's no time for small things. Generosity becomes immense. We are very sure that Miguel Mario Díaz-Canel Bermúdez and Salvador Valdez Mesa will continue to serve the people with passion until I respect the candidacy, as I'm sure that most Cubans will do so. Thank you very much. And I give the floor. Good morning. I'm president of the University of, and also a deputy of this National Assembly. In a historical moment, I would like to discuss the following thought. Listen, Cubans. Do you know what the homeland is? Homeland is a dream and agony. Do you know that what duty is? Duty is to constantly fight for what we have, is to serve others day after day. And do you know it is a dream that becomes reason? Do you know what reason is? Reason is what we have today, without giving up. And do you know what Do you know what exploit is? Is to allow that our country will be exploited. Is to defend war in times of peace. Do you know what peace is? It is what it is what it is our the purest missions. And do you know what Fidel is? Fidel is light, is truth. He made the impossible to give us the freedom. And for you know what homeland. If you already know what peace and do you know Fidel, the people who fight for their freedom, they know that that's why they will have to decide, because our path is to fight whoever want to affect our homeland. If we don't care about having this freedom homeland, I give the floor
Diputado
Julio César La Cruz.
ante todo, agradecer
I would like to thank
a nuestra revolución
to our revolution
por hoy poder estar aquí
to be able to be here today
unidos y dando el sí y luchando
united and fighting
junto al aguerrido pueblo cubano.
alongside our people.
Felicitar
I would like to congratulate and reaffirm
a todos los delegados
to all deputies
de la presidencia
to the presidency
que defendemos todo lo que estamos aquí.
that we
Los
all
12 millones de cubanos
defend alongside
que nos están viendo,
our people that are watching us today.
somos dignos y fieles
We are
a
a
Cuba.
continuity of our
Y para no extenderme tanto, sabemos que estamos pasando por momentos
we know that we're all living difficult times,
unidos,
but
vamos a salir.
united we'll
Y
be able to
nuestro éxito,
be victorious and our successful
la unidad.
and our success will be unity. Thank you very much.
Cedo la palabra acá a compañero a mi derecha.
Sí, Giovanni Manzanés Flores, diputado por la provincia de Holguín.
Deputy from Holguín, Municipality of Antigua.
Primeramente, todo mi respeto ante los dos compañeros
My
que hoy
respect
están proponiendo como candidatos
to our deputies
a la presidencia
presented as
de
President
la República
and Vice President.
Creo que son dos compañeros
These two
caracterizados por
deputies
sencillez,
are
humildad
very
y
humble and simple
responsabilidad ante el trabajo.
people and very responsible with the
Estoy
work,
plenamente convencido
and I'm
de que los
convinced
sabrán representar dignamente
that they will
a esta
represent
asamblea,
this
a
assembly
nuestro pueblo cubano
and our people
y a la revolución
and the revolution,
expresa la Constitución de la República.
as stated by the Constitution of the Republic. Thank you very much.
Gracias. Diputado, cedo la palabra al diputado.
And I give the floor Yuri Valdez.
Y buenas tardes, Yuri Valdez,
Good afternoon.
diputado por el municipio de La Alicia, provincia
I think that we already discussed very important things, and I would like to say that this is a continuity day. And personally, this is the moment where we most remember Fidel, and alongside him, our General Raúl Castro. Because right now we're at a point that we are defining who will be the leaders that will guide our country. We just finished meetings and gatherings with the people, and there are a few ideas that arise from these meetings that ratify the leadership of Miguel Díaz-Canel, and I would like to mention three of them. First, to all, we have the people as the center of our decisions. I think that's a key element, and it has been present from 2018 when we approved the new constitution. It's what we focus our attention, is to comply with what our people approved in the constitution. The second element will be unity. We need unity, and what we are doing today is also aligned with this. And third is to keep the strategy of our government taking into consideration science and the leadership that we have a few years from now. They have been calling us in these themes I already mentioned, and today and these three themes are the key and ratify that the leadership that we have a few years ago is the leadership we need, is what we need to move forward. I would like to finish. In the past few years, we have been living very difficult times. You scientists, you have to thank COVID. We suffer very much as part of the Cuban people. I would like to thank the Assembly. There are a few guests here that are part of the healthcare system and scientists. And maybe, if not the most complex time that we lived, where certainly the decisions have to be focused to defend the most precious that a revolution have, is the life of all Cubans. And I'm a faithful witness that we do not hesitate, even though the difficult times that we had. The government trusts in us. The leadership, alongside with us scientists, allowed us to save the country. And with our vote today, we have to confirm that that happened, and thanks to that, we today have a revolution. Thank you, Mr. President. Dani Diaz Pereira, deputy from Marianao.
Quería referirme a dos elementos.
I would like to say two elements.
Quería referirme a dos elementos de la candidatura que se nos presenta, pero
I would like to
le pido disculpas
I would like to apologize to congratulate as well
de candidatura y a nuestras autoridades electorales que
to our electoral authorities that have witnessed this victory.
nuestro reconocimiento.
They deserve our acknowledgement.
Quiero referirme en primer lugar a la propuesta
I would like to say first
como presidente de
the
la
proposals
compañero
of President
Miguel Díaz-Canel. Y aunque pueda parecer que hablo de
and
una persona, si vamos al estilo de elección que ha defendido y ejecutado,
if we
estoy hablando de
discuss
muchas
the
personas que junto a él y junto al pueblo han liderado. Los primeros días de abril
the
tuvimos
first
la
day of
oportunidad de hacer la
April,
propuesta.
we will have the opportunity to make the proposal, and when I write the name,
Lo que estaba haciendo, intenté buscarlo en los últimos 5 años. ¿Dónde estaba Díaz-Canel? Y lo recordé llegar de los primeros.
and I remember when he arrived to Saratoga as one of them, alongside the people of
Lo
Matanzas.
recordé caminando las termoeléctricas del
I
país.
remember him
En
walking
muchos barrios
around
de
it.
Cuba, pero también me
Nope.
acordé de él en el Hotel Tulipán junto a los familiares del accidente del avión, o de madrugada llegando a Luyanó a ponerle
Or
la mano
early in the
al
morning
gobernador de La Habana. A pocos
to be
minutos había
present
pasado
just a few minutes
el tornado.
after the
Lo
tornado.
recordé en mi universidad,
I remember hearing my
estudiaba
university
y después fui profesor de ahí, hablando de robótica, de control popular.
discussing robotics and
Lo
the
recordé
industry.
también con Pinar del Río,
I remember hearing Pinar del Rio after
huracán.
the cyclone
Lo recordé
Ian.
caminando este pasillo,
I remember he walking this
saludando a sus
palace,
compañeros diputados, incluso
congratulating his fellow
a veces, por
deputies.
ejemplo, aparte de personas que en ánimo de cuidarlo, él intentaba llegar a nosotros. También nos recordé en nuestras comisiones,
I remember him
siendo
in
el
our
primero
meetings
en criticar
being the
y el
first to
primero en el debate.
criticize
Lo
and to
recordé
debate.
regañando a los diputados cuando
I remember him
no éramos fuertes o
discouraging the
críticos
deputies when
en
we
el
were not
ejercicio
critical
de
in our
la
work.
facultad. Recordé al doctor en ciencias técnicas, al principal impulsión de la innovación en Cuba, y hace poco lo recordé también
And a few
pelota.
ago, I remember him playing
Junto al pueblo celebrando
baseball
el 4 de abril.
when we were celebrating the April 4th.
Como joven entusiasta,
And I
capaz de
understood
verme
as a
metiendo
young
en
man,
porque se me va la mano también. Entiendo que ser líder de la
I understand
comunidad
that
de Raúl y de
being a
Fidel
leader
es un compromiso
and
muy
continuing
alto
the leadership of Raúl Castro and Fidel is a high
y con
commitment,
el pueblo al
and it's
que
a high
Díaz-Canel,
commitment with the
y así
people
lo entiendo yo,
to Miguel
se ha
Díaz-Canel
entregado y
has
confío
delivered
que lo
himself,
seguirá
and I
haciendo
trust that he will continue to do so alongside with the people. There's much to be done.
y lo demanda.
Cuba needs
Pero
and
aunque
demanded,
estoy seguro será presidente de la República, no perderemos la esperanza
but we will
y
not
seguiremos
lose
luchando.
hope, and we will keep fighting.
El segundo tema no tiene que ver directamente
The second
con la
topic
candidatura y es una
is not related to the
reflexión que
candidacy,
compartir
and it's a
con el
reflection that I will
Parlamento. Y yo
share.
estoy feliz de ver tantos invitados porque creo que somos menos diputados, pero hay más pueblo en el Palacio de Convención. Yo no he hablado con todos los diputados, tendremos
I
tiempo
have
para eso.
have the chance to speak with all the
Pero sí hemos visto en
deputies,
las redes sociales,
but
en
we
la
have seen in
televisión,
the
por
social
todos lados
networks,
cambiar.
in the
En el
television,
ejercicio de recorrer los barrios,
and
previo a
when
las
we
elecciones, nosotros le pedíamos a
we
nosotros
gather
que
with the
votaran por
people,
nosotros.
we asked the
Le
people
pedíamos
not
al
to
pueblo
vote
que
for
votara
us.
unido, que
We asked them
votaran
to
por lo que
vote
estábamos
united
defendiendo,
for
que
what we were
votaran por lo que
defending.
y eso no es fanfarria electoral porque nosotros no permitimos hacer nada. Eso no es muela electoral.
This is
Forma
not
parte de los principios que nos
vague
han
word.
prometido
This is
los
part of our
gobiernos
principles,
de los yanquis, que sí disfrutan nuestras colas, disfrutan nuestra
that they
escasez,
enjoy
disfrutan que nuestra sociedad
the hardship
se afecte en
and
sus valores,
that our society is
disfruta ver a un
affected,
pueblo
that
cubano
enjoy the
sufriendo.
Cuban people
Ellos
suffering.
disfrutan. Y el único mecanismo, al menos que yo he encontrado en
And
la
the only
historia,
way that I only find in history
pero al menos el único que he encontrado en la historia es la unidad.
is unity.
Tenemos lecciones grandes de lo que nos ha pasado cuando haya
We have
pasado.
learned
Y tenemos
a great
grandes
deal
lecciones de todo lo que hemos resistido y
that all what we have
cuando la hemos tenido
get.
presente. A veces no queda más nada que
Sometimes
unidad.
we don't have
Y
anything
esa
else but
es la
unity,
esperanza. Esa es la que no nos puede faltar.
and we cannot lose hope.
En nombre de esa unidad,
In the
con
name of
mucho
this
respeto, con
unity,
mucha
and
humildad,
with
pido a mis colegas diputados que
humble,
estemos a la
I
altura y
call
seamos fuertes.
my fellow deputies to stand to the task.
Por acá, compañera, si no,
Gracias, presidente.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon. I would like to discuss the proposal for president and vice president. I'm a deputy of the municipality of Corralillo in Villa Clara. I would like to talk about men and feelings with human beings with great loyalty, with love that have overcome the grief, so many obstacles and bravery, so many sleepless nights, pain and grief in the times of the pandemic saddened our country. And in the middle, in the community, talking with the people, explaining and sharing what they knew, encouraging the people, and above all, optimism, with the premises to build Cuban for all. I agree with the proposals because it's very important the word dignity. This doesn't mean that it has been easy. It has been very difficult, very hard. There are still things to do. Today is April 19th. There's also a victory, a continuity. It's a victory of unity for this homeland. Thank you very much.
Por acá, diputado pidiendo la palabra.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Yusan Palacio, deputy from the municipality of Agua de Tánamo, from Holguín. I think that as my fellow deputies, I consider these proposals that presented the candidacy as president and vice president. This is a coherent proposal of this important time that we are living now in Cuba and the world. But we are also affected by what happens internationally. It has been one of the lessons that makes policy, to make policy with culture and knowledge. That's what Martí, Fidel, and Raúl taught us. Armando Hart also told us about this, to whom we owe a concept that has been applied by the current leadership of the country, by our President Díaz-Canel and by Salvador and the rest of the deputies. How to make policy in the midst of the most difficult circumstances, the most important problems of the blockade and hostility against our people. These past 5 years have been very important years, decisive years, that we have to define every day as Cubans, as patriots, as revolutionaries, as socialists. And this definition is what we bring today. It's what makes us ratify, and I'm sure It's like most of our people think to ratify this proposal that the candidacy commission makes to us. We discuss unity as a key element, as a key factor to move forward, to keep fighting and winning. We discuss the history of a revolution, the soul of our homeland that is present here today in this session of the National Assembly of the People's Power that have been present in each battle, in each transcendent moment. And today is already have been said, that is April 19. There's a spirit, an inner strength. Today is a very important day that makes us stand up, that makes us moving forward. That's the spirit of a man, of our family, that knew how to, with humble and honor, to where he stands, for the good of Cuba and the people. That's the spirit of that man that keeps this strength, this man that carries the spirit of a heroic youth, as the heroes of Humboldt 7. Also on April 20 is the birthday of Miguel Díaz-Canel Bermúdez. And precisely for this spirit that is present in our assembly, because Martí is here, Mella is here, because Fidel is here, because our general is already here, that he keeps fighting. That's why we will take on and we will keep defending the decision, the eternal decision, not only from José Martí, but also from our heroic people at the time that we are living today.
Oh mi madre, de manera que puesto en él de pie, luzca mejor en mi frente la estrella que ilumina y mata. Patria o muerte, venceremos.
Gracias. Gracias.
Thank you very much.
Gracias, diputado.
Thank you to Deputy Josuan.
Bueno, hemos oído por allá pide la palabra un diputado por el fondo.
Muy buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Hernández, diputado por el
Orismay Hernandez, Deputy from Limonar, Province of Matanzas.
aprovechando este momento de
I would like to
alta significación histórica en esta asamblea,
speak in this assembly
minutos de
in a few minutes that we define it,
máxima dirección de nuestro país.
the highest leadership of our country.
Compartir dos décimas escritas en este mismo minuto
I would like to share
de reafirmación
a poem that I just wrote.
del proceso revolucionario. Hoy quedó constituida la asamblea
Today, the National Assembly is set.
asamblea que al
a National Assembly that we will look after with our life. Cuba is united, and each representative of the people is a commander, because the main duty of the deputy is to keep the homeland first, no matter how difficult the time is. Cuba has a parliament and a future and an assembly. But here, there is no surrender. I am defending my president and the revolution. We have listened several addresses from our deputies related to the candidacies presented for president and vice president of the republic. In each case, there were supporting arguments of this candidacy, and in any case, there were any people against it. Now it's time to vote this candidacy. Deputies, agree with it? Raise your hand. Those against? Is there someone that doesn't want to vote? Therefore, the candidacy is approved unanimously. Well, deputies, the voting for this assembly will be done similar that we already did previously. And therefore, I request the National Electoral Council to proceed and issuing the voting to the deputies, and I request the deputies to vote
igual, directo y secreto.
After this, we will make a recess to perform the voting. Those invited, if they wish, they can get out. And I request the deputies that remain in their seats and await the moment so they are indicated to exercise the right to vote. And I invite our General Raúl Castro Ruz and Miguel Díaz-Canel to exercise the right to vote.
Metieron buena intervención. Vamos a ver si...
And after the statements of the President of the National Assembly of People's Power of Cuba, the deputies now will go to vote to elect the two candidates, one for President of the Republic of Cuba, Miguel Díaz-Canel Bermúdez, and the Vice President, the candidate for Vice President, Salvador Valdés Mesa. Those are the two proposals made by the lawmakers and also approved, ratified, and supported by them. And now, as we see, the historical leader of the Cuban Revolution and the President of Cuba, both of them, Raúl Castro Ruz and Miguel Díaz-Canel Bermúdez, are exercising the right to vote as deputies and as members of this National Assembly of People's Power. Also, Salvador Valdés Mesa is there, and other leaders of Cuban Revolution. Now the lawmakers have a time to cast their votes and also to go back to their seats and to address or to assess this election of the President and the Vice President of the Republic. This has been an extensive day of work for the 10th legislature of the National Assembly of People's Power of Cuba. And the lawmakers will also have a recess, a time to spare before the announcement of the results of the outcome of this voting, this election of their top officials of the Republic of Cuba. And as we were seeing and listening, Cuba's 10th legislature of the National Assembly of People's Power was constituted by the 470 deputies, so they started a new legislative term in the Caribbean nation. During the plenary session, the lawmakers ratified in his post Esteban Lazo Hernández with 96% as the president, as the vice president Ana María Machado with 99%, and the secretary Homero Acosta with 98.2%, and elected the other 21 top officials who make up the State Council. The deputies elected the new head of state and vice president of the Republic they nominated by ratifying these nominations of President Miguel Díaz-Canel and Salvador Valdés Mesa as the vice president. The deputies expressed their support for these candidacies and went on with the election. We will offer you more details in upcoming news briefs. Stay with us.